Bhfuil fáilte a chur raibh ahan duine an seo an acht agus go háirithe chur an fáilte raibh clanna óglaí ní déag a sé déag. You are very welcome to the Mansion House on this historic occasion. And back in the day, Fine Gael tried to stop Sinn Féin from holding Ardeshina here. So it's particularly, as Mary Lou noted, these days to see that the first citizen of this fair city is the Sinn Féin mayor, Crina Ní Dálaigh. I especially want to welcome the families and the relatives of the leaders and the volunteers of 1916. And James Connolly Ahern, thank you for one of the most wonderful orations I have ever heard. Bhí sé go huntach, agus tásagan gur bhí sé ag teacht ó dá crí, sin rud go háin tabachtach, so míle buíochas. Agus fáilte mór raibh daoine a rinn túras fada le bheith linn anocht. This, as others have noted, Mansion House has a special place in the hearts of Irish people. It was here on January the 21st, 1919, that the first Dáil met and asserted the national freedom and independence of the Irish people. So, 2016 is a time to celebrate all that, a time to celebrate our identity, to commemorate our past, and to deliver on the promise of the Proclamation. It's a time for big ideas. It's a time to stand up and to be counted. And standing up also includes joining Sinn Féin, if you're not a member, or renewing your membership. And this specially commissioned, should be up behind me on the is it? Yes, no it's not. This specially commissioned 1916 centenary membership card will go for a fortune on eBay in about 50 years' time. And you can sign up for it outside at the desk. 100 years ago, men and women from the four corners of Ireland, nationalist, republican, socialist, trade unionist, Gaelgery, feminist, were meeting in rooms in this city, across this island and beyond to plan the overthrow of the British Empire in our country. They envisaged a republic where people are citizens, not subjects, where people have fundamental rights, not arbitrary privileges, where there is equality, not elitism, where there is unity, not partition and division. And on Easter Monday, April the 24th, 1916, Padraig Pearse marched with a small number of comrades to the General Post Office and read aloud the proclamation of the new republic. Grave Croga agus Dramhuhil a beyond. A few hundred poorly equipped Irish men and women took on the might of the largest empire in human history. After 6 days of heroic resistance by the Republicans, the centre of Dublin was in ruins. Hopelessly outnumbered, outgunned, and seeking to avoid further death and destruction, the leaders of the provisional government met for the last time in 16 Moore Street and ordered a surrender. The leaders were court-martialed. 15 were executed over the following 2 weeks. Roger Casement was later hanged in London. And the British hoped by the speed of their actions and the scale of the executions that the flame of freedom would be extinguished in Ireland. Ach ní ró an ceart acu, had his court-martial Padraig Pearse accurately predicted. If you strike us down, we shall rise again to renew the fight. You cannot conquer Ireland. You cannot extinguish the Irish passion for freedom. Bacure can una a star na hurin iri amach na casca. Dahari she and Pibliocht agus Jarki na Dini. The Irish language inspired many of those who took part in the rising, as it did with the hunger strikers in 1981. Irish is a hugely important aspect of who we are as a people, and restoring the language to a central role in the life of our nation is a positive and achievable aim. The Irish language is the heritage of all who live on this island, regardless of our background. Agus mar a dúirt an Piarseach, ní hé amháin saor ach Gaelach comói, ní amháin Gaelach ach saor comói. The rising was a declaration of freedom heard all around the world. The Patriots believed that a better Ireland is possible. We also believe that. And to achieve it, to win their freedom, to win our freedom, they put everything on the line, including their own lives. The Irish Revolutionary period was followed by a counter-revolution, by a civil war. Thousands more died and were imprisoned. The revolution was defeated. Narrow, mean-minded, mean-spirited, conservative, sectarian and elitist regimes were established north and south. In the north, the unionist regime imposed decades of political and religious discrimination, repression and conservatism. In this state, there was the horror of institutionalized abuse in the Magdalen laundries, in the reformatory and industrial schools, and in other institutions. Poverty, emigration and inequality were rampant. Censorship in the arts, culture and politics was pervasive. Some of our greatest writers were banned. The old imperial administration was replaced by new, native political and economic elites. Now, the reality is that when partition was imposed by London on threat of a resumption of war, there were activists who rejected it. There were others who reluctantly accepted it as temporary. And they hoped that the new southern state would act as a stepping stone to full national freedom. But there were also those who saw it as an end in itself. And there are many in the establishment today who share that view. They, like our Taoiseach, believe that our sovereign nation stops at the border. They just don't get 1916. It's an inconvenient issue that they want to get out of the way. And James has spelled this out better than I could. But that's why the government's approach to the centenary lacked any ambition and substance, and why they sought to remove context. At least they were being true to themselves, because this reflects Fine Gael and Labour's leadership's attitude to 1916, their lip service to core Republican values, and their support for partition. Partition has never served Irish national interests or the common good. It created a duplication of public and private services, two sets of currencies, two tax systems, laws and regulation. It divided our people. It ensured that the island of Ireland has not reached our economic, social or political potential. Partition sustained decades of conflict, inequality and sectarianism. Now, that conflict has thankfully come to an end, but partition remains. However, one of the big achievements of recent Irish history is that there is now a peaceful way to end partition. Has the Irish establishment a strategy to achieve this? No, they don't. But why would they? They want to maintain the status quo. Liam Mellow spelt it out well when he said, men will get into power, and once in power, they will want to hold on to power. But of course, Ireland today in the world is a different place from when the leaders of the Rising assembled on Easter Monday. But Irish Republican values, Irish Republican objectives, the core values of the Proclamation remain as relevant as ever. the Irish Republic proclaimed in 1916 was committed to pursue the happiness and the prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally. And at its core is a belief that all people are sovereign and equal. And that historic document is a clear statement of intent for an all-Ireland republic built on the foundations of civil and religious liberty, social justice and equality for all citizens. It remains the mission statement of modern Irish republicanism. At a time when women did not have the vote even, it addresses Irish men and Irish women. And those who understand and understood its significance were revolutionary women. It's Iad Manrana Haran, na revolutionaries, a hig ke kotavak sha a vishay shaw. Margaret Skinner, who was wounded during the fighting in Dublin on Easter week, said, in the Constitution of the Irish Republic, women were on equality with men. For the first time ever, she said, a constitution has been written that incorporated the principle of equal suffrage. Now, there are events that define generations. There are events that define our generation. 100 years ago, it was the Easter Rising. 35 years ago, it was the strength and dignity of the hunger strikers and their families. And Ireland today needs once again the spirit and the vision of the hunger strikers, allied to the selflessness and the generosity and the bravery of those who struck for freedom and justice 100 years ago. And it's ordinary citizens like us, ordinary people like us, who must take up that vision and renew that spirit. We are the leadership that we have been waiting for, us, ordinary people. And I see it, I saw it today in County Clare, the spirit of the Mahal, where neighbours came together to help families devastated by floods. We see it right across in parishes, right across rural Ireland. We've seen it in the last 12 months where people have risen up, people have taken to the streets in their hundreds of thousands to oppose water charges. We've seen it in the vote by referendum in support of marriage equality, the first such state to vote in this positive way. And Sinn Féin is part of shaping that type of change. Tamij and Hudge Larnock Denaharu Shin. But we need to do more, and we want to do more. We want to make alliances with others of like mind to build a truly national movement based on equality and fairness. We want to deliver a real republic. Now, like many people, I'm sick to my back teeth listening to Enda Kenny and Joan Burton talking about stability while they perpetuate chaos in the lives of working people. For the last 5 years, time and time again, they have shown, when it counted, that they were on the side of those who follow in the footsteps of William Martin Murphy. Now, if they get into government, it will be the same all over again. Stability for the elites, chaos for working families. Decision after decision taken by this government has caused chaos in communities, in families, and with individuals. Today, there are 427 patients on trolleys because of this government. Hundreds of patients every day lying on hospital corridors. 1,500 children are in emergency accommodation because of this government. There are massive drops in family income because of this government. Vulnerable people are being targeted in the harshest cuts of all because of this government. Cuts to the bereavement grant, home help hours, discretionary medical cards for seriously ill children, all at the will and the behest of this government. Hundreds of thousands of young people gone, the scattering of rural Ireland because of this government, a housing crisis because of this government. And Fianna Fáil would be no better. In government, elements of Fianna Fáil were responsible for corruption and economic chaos. There was the worst banking collapse in Irish history, almost bankrupting the Irish state and creating record high levels of unemployment and emigration and hundreds of thousands of households in negative equity. So, my friends, we are here tonight to say enough is enough. It has to stop. And I'm standing here tonight asking you to join the rising. Let's have another rising and be part of a generation demanding and delivering real change. Like many people, I'm moved by the image of James Connolly being carried out of the GPO, strapped to a stretcher. What would he say about a Labour Party in government which is responsible for children and elderly people being left on hospital trolleys for days with no dignity or respect, including some, remarkably, who were born before the 1916 Rising? My guess is that James Connolly would say, it's time to put Labour and their cronies in Fine Gael out of office. Fine Gael and Labour are trying desperately to set the agenda, particularly Fine Gael, for the general election by presenting the result as a foregone conclusion and then the Kenny as the inevitable Taoiseach. And they hope that many voters who want rid of this government will switch off. They think there's no point and they won't vote at all. And it's up to us to make sure that this does not happen. So 2016 is the time to make change. Mar sin agus dá míle sa sé déag, bhfuil se linn, tá sé an am doing a nachrú a dheanú. And the election has to be about the type of Ireland our people want to live in and the type of Ireland our people want to build. We're very clear. Sinn Féin wants a society based on equality and fairness. We want to deliver a fair recovery for all. And this means helping low and middle-income families by increasing the minimum wage, by abolishing property tax and water charges, by building social and affordable homes and helping those in mortgage distress, by increasing spending on health care to move from a failing two-tier health system to universal health care, to help rebuild rural Ireland by ensuring that our communities and their quality of life is matched by the quality of their public services, and to make this a welcoming place to those who were forced to emigrate over recent years. It's also about securing a referendum on Irish unity and beginning the practical preparations for Irish reunification, and for rooting out corruption in politics and cutting the salaries of politicians. We will deliver. We will deliver here with the support of people, just as we have in the north. And under the leadership of Martin McGuinness, Sinn Féin is in government there defending the rights of citizens, protecting the most vulnerable and building prosperity and jobs in the face of Tory British government cuts from Westminster. We're promoting partnership, reconciliation, equality and inclusion. And if in this state we secure a mandate, we want to be in government in this part of the island as well. And our goal will be to implement a strategy to unite the people of Ireland. But citizens here, no more than citizens in the north, can wait until then for fairness. Change is needed, and change is needed now. So, comrades, the unfinished business of 1916 and the great challenges of the Proclamation is to unite all the people of this island, whatever our background or tradition, in equality and mutual respect. Any new government strategy aimed at uniting Ireland must involve finding common cause with our unionist neighbours and with those who see themselves as British. And in many ways, the peace process and its outworkings is about reworking the relationship between unionism and the rest of us, and between the people of this island and the people of Britain. We also have to pursue every avenue to promote greater All-Ireland cooperation. We need to build the All-Ireland sectors in the environment, health, energy, education, agriculture, and the single island economy. We need to use every available opportunity to enlist the goodwill of our international friends towards the cause of United Ireland. So this centenary year is a time for national renewal. It is a time to build. It is a time for real political progress to be made across this island. The women and the men of 1916 were visionaries. We need to be visionaries also. So let us imagine the new republic, and then let us achieve the new republic. James Connolly, in his New Year message for 1916, and obviously mindful of the events that were to come, he wrote, "Opportunities are for those who seize them." So let us seize the opportunities 2016 provides. As always, the republic is in the ownership of the people. So join us. Let's all join together in a new people's rising. Tamajanish ag kibnu shir, ak ag an tam kierna, tamaj gork arai. Marshin, begi lin. It's time to end the domination of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. After 90 years, their time is up. It's time to elect a progressive Republican government. It's time for a Sinn Féin-led government. That's the opportunity we must seize. So let's do it. Let's dump Labour. Let's dump Fine Gael. Up the Republic. Onwards together. Goramila Mari.